All right, ladies and gents, welcome again with another video. I mean, this is a client interview with Chloe. This is very interesting because this is your first month, officially your quote unquote first month in remote sales. And last week you joined, well, last month you joined the program, right? And everything happened very quickly, right? I don't know if that is that what you expected and where you're at right now, like and where you're at with where your stage with high ticket sales?
I was honestly very surprised, I guess, to have landed a position that quick.
Yeah.
I thought it would be definitely a more difficult process.
Yeah.
But honestly, I mean, I went through the material that you gave and just tried to apply that. And I think what really helped me the most was just outreach and the amount of outreach I was doing, because I know you were emphasizing trying to hit like 50 DMs a day. Yeah. So that's definitely was a goal I was trying to hit. And I think that played a huge part in like landing the position I am in now.
Okay, gotcha. What's the offer you're in? Like without having to disclose too much information, right? So how did you get the offer? And then essentially like where are you at for the month? Let's dive right into like the numbers.
Yeah. So I joined several Facebook groups and I just started DMing a lot of people, commenting or like, oh, I sent you a DM or whatever on posts. And I received a DM from this business owner. And so he told me about his offer and I got on a call with him. He kind of explained the model a bit more. And then we kind of just got right into it. I got onboarded. I've been on this offer for about a month now and ended with about 4,750 in commission.
So 4,750. Then I know there's a couple more contracts pending, right? So you're like really like close to like 5K, but that's your first month. And how many hours are you putting into it right now? Because I know you're also working and you're in college, right?
Yes. So for this offer, I'm putting in about 3 to 4 hours max, 4 hours a day, about 6 days a week.
How like what does it look like? Like what's your daily schedule look like for like being in remote sales, right? Like for that 3 to 4 hours, like what are you doing exactly?
Yeah. So some of the prime time, I guess, for like calling and for leads to pick up, I dedicate the morning calling up all the new leads we get through our lead generator. Then once it starts getting evening time and people are getting off work, I start going through calling people again, going through old leads, sending out emails early in the morning to people we get, and just like sending SMS texts as follow-ups.
That's awesome. So it's just the regular stuff, right? For 3 to 4 hours. I mean, for now, like how did you get into this space? Like before you got into remote sales, what were you doing and kind of like what made you the decision to even start looking into this now?
Yeah, so I work as a server at a restaurant currently, but what kind of got me, I guess, into sales was my friend actually did it. So I kind of picked up on that and just like saw what she was doing. I kind of like looked more into it and I thought it would really help me kind of improve my skill set because I was looking to get into like the online business space for a couple months before then. And I just wasn't sure what fit me the best until I came across sales. And I saw it worked a lot with customer service and having like about 2-3 years of customer service. I thought that's a skill I already have. So I can just like build on top of it as well as like acquire new skills.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I know one of your friends, right, is Angel, and she's, part of the program as well. And I guess for you, right, like you've mentioned that you had, customer service experience for like 2 or 3 years. That's the barista one, right?
So that's part, being a barista and also serving.
Serving, okay. So how do you feel like that translated, like that 2 to 3 years when you transition into getting into remote sales?
Yeah, I definitely see that when it comes to like meeting customers' needs and just like answering kind of questions they have, helping them feel comfortable and ensuring they receive like the best service they can and just like feel comfortable with what they're doing and going through.
Got you. So it's just like it's very simple transition for you because there was already some similarities, right? It's practically like here I'm getting paid per hour. Now here I get to get paid, per commission or per deal, right? and more technically more higher level, right? So for you, right, like what's the next steps? I guess like what's the goal now? Because I know you kind of the goal is to just kind of like replace the job, right, and kind of like get into the space, see where you're at for a couple of months. But within the first month, you already made almost 5K, 4.7K, in commission, right? So like what's the next steps now? Like where are you hoping to aim, and kind of like what are you hoping to like get to next?
Yeah, for sure. So I am definitely looking kind of at a closing offer now, just to go further in and just really take the next, I guess, big step, and then see what kind of skills I can acquire and like practice in that, and then hopefully leave my serving position and do just sales along with school.
That's fair. So it's like you want to go full time now into this, right? I know we've talked about this a couple of times already, right? And then for you, Chloe, right? And you're doing SDR right now, and then you want to get into closing, and eventually, like, was there any roadblocks that you faced when you're trying to get into this, or like what was that experience like? Because getting into the program, was there any thoughts that ran through your mind, kind of like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna work out or anything like that, or yeah, kind of like shed some light on that as well.
Yeah, there was definitely a big hesitation, I guess, of going into this.
Yeah.
Because I thought I just had to make it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I have to succeed. And I guess I was nervous, like what would happen if I don't? Do I just stay in this position?
Yeah.
And just go back to finding something else in the, I guess, online business world and just stay at serving? So I think that was like one of my biggest fears, was just like not being able to succeed and do well. And then also kind of what my life would look like after that, because I just wasn't sure like how I would fit this into my day-to-day life, especially working as a server. But I definitely think after being in this space, I've managed my time better and been able to like allot certain time frames to dedicate to this.
What are some of the things that you felt like, okay, these are some of the things that I picked up more being in the space that I didn't really expect me or myself doing? Or was it already natural transition for you?
It honestly felt pretty natural. I guess the main difference was I guess the framework and like what I was saying to customers. Because usually in serving, I try to meet their needs and like really cater to them.
Yeah.
But in sales, it's just more about learning about them rather than how we can help them. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Yeah, like practically it's like figuring out, where they're at, current situation, pain points, and then seeing if the product that we're offering is good, right? And it's a good fit for them. And I guess for you, right? I know when you came to me, you said you were looking into a couple of stuff. Why did you end up deciding to, I guess, like go to the program, which is Renaissance Closer, instead of like, all of the other offers out there, or any other, getting you the extra help, or even just doing this by your own, right? I know it's funny. This is probably one of the questions that I ask you when on our first call, but like, what was that, to just get some light as well from the people who's watching, right? They're like, what was the deciding factors, trying your best not to become biased, right? But what was the deciding factors for you on saying, you know what, I want to go with the Renaissance Closer, work with Elijah instead of all of these other programs out there?
I think, if I'm being honest, Angel did have a big part to play in it, because I trust her. I trust her a lot, and I know she trusts you, and she definitely said a lot of wonderful things about you. And then when I looked at your school, I just saw like all the resources you had already put on there that was free to access, and I did kind of look into that a bit more, and I did like what I saw, and I like the community aspect of it, and it just felt very, I guess, encouraging. Like this is a very encouraging community, and you want to see us succeed, which I think was a big part and just help us overall.
I got you. So it was like, hey, someone was already in your program that I knew that succeeded as well. That's a good friend of mine. And on top of that, I checked out some of the free stuff. So if you guys are watching this, go check out the free community right now. But for you, like, I guess like, did you expect it to be this fast in terms of like where would you be at in terms of sales, or what was the expectation you set? How did you manage the expectation? Right? Yeah.
Honestly, I was not expecting it to go this quickly. I felt like I was in the trenches the first couple of weeks trying to find an offer because
Yeah. Yeah.
it felt impossible, honestly.
Mhm.
But I just kept outreaching and I managed to like get a couple interviews, talk to
Yeah.
several people. But yeah, I definitely didn't think I would be here
Yeah.
this soon though.
What do you think is the biggest thing that helped you to land your offer very fairly quickly?
Honestly, like discipline was a big factor and just really making it a priority every day, just allotting some time of my day to reach out to people, whether it just be trying to network or just applying to offers.
Yeah, that's fair. So just making it a priority and being more consistent with it. Because I know a lot of people out there tries to get into this space and they like have a lot of paralysis analysis or like they can't land offers. Why do you feel like that is right? Like compared to where you got in here and you just did what you need to do and
Um, wait, I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So like what do you feel like how come, for example, maybe person A has been trying to get into this space, but they've been sending a bunch of DMs, but they can't land their offer or like was there any secrets about like you getting into this space faster, or was there anything specific that you did with your outreach that got you the interview, or someone reached out to you, or what do you feel like was there, yeah, or is it just right place or right time? Yeah.
I definitely feel like what you say to people in your outreach plays a big part, and definitely just trying to connect with them rather than just like, hey, I'm interested. Like, definitely try to make it more personable. Because I remember you said in I forgot what it was, if it was like an email or if you had posted it. But or it may have been in your video, in one of your videos. But you're like, if okay, let's say you sent someone an DM and you were that person, or if you sent yourself a DM applying to an offer, like, would you accept yourself and want to interview yourself or onboard yourself with that message? So I definitely thought about that a lot and definitely kind of adjusted my messages to be more personable. So I think that plays a big part.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask yourselves always. Like, if I'm on the other side of the screen and I read this message, would I even respond to it in the first place? Or like if I were to hop on and interview this person, would I hire this person? Right? It's kind of like a good reframe of whatever you're trying to get into this space, right? And I guess like for Renaissance closer, right, getting into the program, right, and then like let's say someone is kind of like still weighing in, like, hey, I'm thinking about joining, but I just don't know if this is for me, right? What are some of the insights would you give them, because you were in that same position too, right? You were doing your own due diligence and research. What would you say to them? Like, what was for you, for example, what did you look into this, like, what, here's the advice, or yeah, kind of just like where are you at on that, like what would you say to them?
I think if you're very serious and will take it seriously, definitely join the program because that money can be made back easily if you put in the work and are able to land a position. Like, don't worry about that if it financially, that's like your concern. But there are a lot of great resources in this community and a lot of people there to help you, whether it be like mock calls, just helping with networking, or just helping you like with the process, like landing a position, answering questions you have. Like, everybody in Renaissance wants to see you win and do well.
All right. And then I'm curious too, like, I know that I have a couple more questions here before, and I don't want this to be too long for you, but
no worries.
Chloe, right? You got into this space and obviously sales is a fairly male dominant industry. For you, how are you able to kind of like make sure that you stood out, right? Or even like, did you feel intimidated when you get into this? Maybe someone's watching and they're like, I don't know if this is for me, I'm a girl, like for you, did you feel that way? Or what was the thought process behind like getting to this space knowing that it's a male dominant industry?
I personally didn't feel that way, I guess, because I didn't know that it was more male dominated. But being a female in the space, it gives you an advantage, a huge advantage, I think, because I believe people do feel more comfortable comfortable. I'm so sorry. Talking to females and like working with females. So yeah, I think being a female is a huge advantage.
What would you say to like, some girls maybe in like a I don't know, in like customer service as well, maybe kind of similar background as to you getting in, and they're kind of like, yo, I'm tired of working this job, and because you mentioned to me too, you were like practically driving 2 or 3 hours just commute wise to just go to your work, right?
Yeah.
And they're like trying to find another way, like for a specific person, right? Like, is there a specific person that should look into remote sales, especially if they're a girl or anything? Is there any specific characteristics that maybe they're like, you should do this if you're this type of person?
If you do very well when it comes to like communication and talking to people, and you're very just sympathetic, I would tell you definitely to get into closing, just because when you talk to people, you can definitely resonate with them more, empathize with them more, and kind of like understand that. And that will help the people you're talking to as well feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
So I definitely think being a people person is a big advantage, or is a good trait to have.
Yeah. 100%. And I know this is kind of just like a stepping stone for you. I know we've discussed, off the screen as well. You want to start your own business and all that stuff, right? Like for that, I kind of just want to ask you, like, what are some of your plans, or like, is there anything that you're thinking about right now as well? I know this is kind of like maybe far off the future, but any thoughts on like what are the next steps after sales? What's after this for you?
After sales, honestly, I'm not too sure anymore because I did want to go into engineering for a while, but now I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing real estate just because I feel like it is very similar to sales. So I feel like I already have like a stepping stone for that.
Yeah.
But I do eventually want to open my own business at one point as like a little cafe or coffee shop.
That's
far
awesome.
In the future though.
100%. And I would honestly say like even that aspect of opening up your coffee shop, right? And then you get into remote sales, you could easily get the principles of business by just being surrounded with people who's doing marketing, offer, sales, and implementing that. For example, like let's say you start your own coffee shop, right? I think it's always like a good thing. And then, so right now for you, right? I mean, I know my last question for you is like, let's say you were to give advice to yourself a few months back. I know this is literally just 1 month, but what would you say to yourself? And kind of like, what would you say to yourself?
I would just say, just keep pushing through, be very disciplined, because I feel like that's what you need more than motivation, because there are going to be some days where you're not going to wake up and want to outreach or want to do something, but you're going to have to if you want to succeed and do well. So definitely be disciplined and work hard and be intentional about what you do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for, just stopping on this call and kind of sharing your story so far and how your remote sales journey is. And again, if you guys are watching this video and you guys might be interested, like, this is interesting to me, then go ahead, check the link in the description below. We have a free resources over there, right? And do you have any last remaining thoughts you want to share to some of the people watching right now? Maybe if they made it this far to this video, any last remarks?
Really, really invest into Elijah. I promise you guys.
I didn't say it.
Like, he really wants to help you guys and wants y'all to succeed and do well. And he will be there to help y'all every step of the way.
Thank you so much for that kind words. But you guys are watching this, you guys heard it from Chloe, not me. But as always, I'll leave you guys this one thing. If you guys made it to this video, be a creator, not a consumer. Create something today that will inspire you and others. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.